I am starting to worry about Justin Fields, which makes me sick to my stomach to even say. When I'm watching him right now, I'm just thinking about a quote from a great American classic film, The Replacements, about quicksand, and just the harder he's fighting, the lower he's sinking, and it's just I don't know what the answer is to that. I mean, the guy's clearly fighting like hell to fix whatever the issues are. I just hope he's not getting burnt out in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is a terrible, terrible analysis, but this is only an analysis that you'll get from the mind of Beat On is Bears fans thought that we were getting college football playoff, broken ribs, Clemson game, Justin Fields. And up to this point, we have gotten Justin Fields against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game. Like, it hasn't even been close. And part of that is him. Part of that is, like you said, Quinn, the opportunities. They haven't been there. You're not really going to get into any sort of rhythm if you're throwing the ball only 11 times a game or 18 times a game. We have the lowest pass attempts in the entire league, and it's not even close. But it is tough even having the conversation to even utter the words like, yeah, if he's not the guy, we need to be able to find that out and move on because it's so quick. And it's like, yeah, in this league, what's the average career? 3 years. Obviously, I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to be out of the league by year 3, but the clock is ticking and he has continued to just take steps back. Like, we thought after year 1 he'd be getting better. This is a valid point, but also not the end all be all. Scott said he had 3 better receivers in college. This is true, but like Justin Fields has still been at the top of his like position from a very young age. So for him to be playing like this, and then you see Trevor Lawrence go out to LA and smack the shit out of the Chargers last week, and honestly, there hasn't really been many good quarterbacks from that class. So it's really just me seeing Lawrence, and then that's the guy like we always talk about that he's been compared to. It's like fuck.
So with the Lawrence stuff, there's one thing that hangs in the back of my mind, and it might just be me being like a very biased Bears fan who wants to see Justin succeed. But every step of either of their careers, whenever Lawrence has taken a step, gotten better, Fields has done the same. You know, so that's something that kind of gives me some optimism of like he puts in the work.
Tinfoil hat.
Matched this guy over, yeah, tinfoil hat. He's matched him over and over and over. The timeline might not be the same right now, but I think the process is. You know, I mean, I think that the talent's there, the want to is there, the intelligence is there, and at that point, it's just a question of how long does it take when I look at it, and that's what I hope is the truth.
Yeah, and on top of it, too, kind of going back to Scott's point, I'm going to bring it up on the screen here again really quick. He said 3 times better receivers in college compared to now. I mean, you look at 2 of the names that he did have in college are balling out in the NFL. I mean, Garrett Wilson has looked good so far for the New York Jets, and even Chris Olave had a really nice week last week for the New Orleans Saints. I saw something really interesting, and I believe damn it, I don't remember who it was. It might have been Emmanuel Acho, to be honest with you. But he brought up a very interesting and good point that I think we're starting to see a lot more of in the NFL in today's game, where the air attack does dominate and really dictate a lot of NFL games. Josh Allen became Josh Allen when he got Stephon Diggs. You're seeing Jalen Hurts now with an A.J. Brown ball out, right? You're starting to see some correlation of these quarterbacks able to take that next step with that next dependable weapon. And I think that's what the Bears are hoping he finds with either Darnell Mooney this season, even if it is just for one season and Mooney eventually becomes the 2 and they go get that number 1 guy. But right now, it really is kind of just like figuring out who the hell they have, right? I mean, it's been Equanimus St. Brown and the Funky Bunch to this point, because like he's been arguably their leading receiver in terms of targets. It's crazy to think that's the case, and they're still winning football games. I think as the season goes on, if Fields fails to take any steps forward, I don't know if we're going to see Justin Fields take that, wow, like he's there by week 17. I don't think we're going to see that this year. But if there's enough on tape of saying, yeah, he's got now that full year in a new system, he's going to have that same system next year. He knows what he needs to fix. He knows what he needs to do. It's on the Bears front office to go get him that number one weapon that he can trust. And then maybe, just maybe, as we've seen around the NFL from a lot of guys who are talented, who work just like Justin Fields, right? Oh, well, he's not perfect as a prospect. And I don't know, is he going to make it, right? I remember all the criticism of Josh Allen and all the criticism of Jalen Hurts last year. Those guys are two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Fuck, even Tua. Look at Tua and what he's doing. They go out and get Tyreek Hill. They go draft Jalen Waddle. And now Tua's arguably an NFL MVP frontrunner because of how well he's played for 3 weeks. Two and on, right? Like, it truly goes to show, right, that your playmakers sometimes for a quarterback are your best friend as long as Fields takes those steps forward. And I think this is a perfect week to do it. And because we're kind of joking off air and dabbling, right, about the personnel the Giants have on defense. Really good defensive line, some guys that are at linebacker, and a bit of an aging secondary. Maybe this is the week where Darnell Mooney gets that 60-yard catch downfield, right? Maybe this is the week that they maybe take the training wheels off just to see what Justin has this week and let him air the ball out downfield, because arguably that is his greatest strength, is the deep ball. I mean, that's what the dude does best. And Quentin, you've discussed it, I know, on Twitter and in your articles as well, about the big time throws and how even last season he had more big time throws than he's already had this year. It really does feel like they're not taking the training wheels off yet. This almost to me is the game. If you're going to do it, do it. Like, let him air out the ball a little bit and see what happens. Don't just rely on him to have to make all these complex reads if it's not working. Let him play a little bit of street ball. Run the hell out of the football like we just talked about, because if nobody can stop you, why stop doing it? And who knows what happens. But I think I agree, Quentin, especially after being there in person and now seeing some of the all-22 after the fact and some of the missed reads. And I was like, oh, Justin, my dog. But I still have enough hope where it's like, we're only 3 weeks in, thankfully, right? It's not week 9 and we're sitting here saying this conversation. It's week 3 going into week 4. Let's see what happens, but holy hell, it would be sick. And I love Scott's thought process. I don't know if this happens, but he says that the Raiders are 1-6. The Bears trade for Devontae Adams at the deadline. I don't know if they want that cap hit on the books, but
yeah,
I would love to see Adams torture Green Bay for the next 6 years. That would be cool.
Honestly, yes, the Raiders would eat so much dead cap on that. I think that'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah, the Raiders have been lighting money on fire for years, though.
Yeah. But on the big time throw thing, it was last season, Justin Fields did not go 2 consecutive starts without at least one big time throw. So the longest he went without one was a single game. He hasn't had one yet this year, which is telling. I mean, part of that's volume. He hasn't had the throws, but really it almost seems to me like I don't want to say like they're playing chicken, because that doesn't make sense, because that implies that they're trying to do this. But like Fields, I think he's pressing. Like when you look at the 2 interceptions from last week, he's sitting there. He's trying to make everything perfect. He's trying to squeeze that ball into a tight window with 3 defenders around Mooney, instead of hitting Mooney back shoulder on the sideline where Mooney turned to and was thinking the ball would go. He's not trusting what's around him, and he's saying, I need to be perfect because I can't trust everyone else. And that's where it's kind of like, I think he needs to let go a little bit on that and just be playing a little more free. And the offense isn't going to give him chances until he earns the trust either. So that's why I say it's a little bit of a game of chicken of like, the less opportunities he gets, the more he's pressing and trying to be even more perfect. And the more he's doing that, the less opportunities he's getting, because he's getting less and less trust from the play caller. So it's like they both need to just, I mean, I don't know what they need to do. That was just a term, but they both are it feels like what would be best is if they both let up on the reins a little bit and just kind of wipe the slate clean and say, let's start this thing fresh. Let's get this right and let's make some plays.